What's up, you guys? Welcome back into iHeartRadio's official wrestling podcast, the Battleground Podcast. It is Battle. I got my tag team partner, Eli, and I got the man, the myth, the legend. We got AJ Cazana on the show with us.
That's right, baby. The ball-headed brute straight out of Knoxville, Tennessee.
Woo, man. We got to talk about a lot of stuff, my man.
Tennessee traffic.
Yeah, I mean, enjoy that Tennessee traffic. It's miserable. We were talking about it off the air of how awful traffic is,
yeah.
but you know, something that's not awful, something really cool is happening. Get ready for it. July 19th, NWA-Joe Cazana Promotions brings the NWA to Nashville, Tennessee. Trials at Troubadour, tickets starting at $20. Let's talk about the show, man. It's is this your first one that you're running in Nashville?
So this is going to be our first territory show in Nashville, yes. Like I said, I got hooked up with a guy at the Troubadour Theater thanks to Coastal Championship Wrestling. We got a great partnership with them. They're there every 4 months. I think we're going to roll in every few months and kind of counteract them, work with them, do our thing. But, we're excited to branch out to Nashville. I had to get the CCW plug in for Neilio. We're excited to branch out to Nashville, especially because we haven't been there since 75. It's been since August. It's almost an entire year. So NWA 75 happened. Then we busted Nashville, and we had 2 days of TV. And I know people are missing the NWA in Nashville. I know wrestling is alive and very well in Nashville, Tennessee. I've been to CCW shows. I've seen Pro Wrestling Entertainment. I've seen NWA shows. And, we're trying to build something as big as, I don't know if you guys were at or even remember Crockett Cup 2022.
Yeah.
Which would have been my NWA debut, official NWA debut, I believe.
We were at that event.
This is big for me because like Nashville's where I got my start with the National Wrestling Alliance, and so to bring a territory in with my dad, we got Kinsey Page, world champion, Alex Taylor, NWA Junior Heavyweight world champion. We're trying to do it up big, and we ain't pulling no punches. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. For sure. And it's going to be an exciting time because you said, like you said, I mean, the NWA hasn't been in Nashville in a while, and I can't tell you how many times I'll text Kyle or Joe or Danny Dills. I'm like, hey, look, I get it. Like, NWA is a big thing. I was like, when is all of the NWA coming? Not just a couple of the wrestlers to like a one-off event. I was like, when is an actual NWA event coming? And, well, we're getting it Friday, July 19th when Trials at the Troubadour is happening, which, again, tickets starting at $20. You can grab those tickets. Where would you like to push it? NWATix.com, Eventbrite.com, right?
It's NWA Live Events because I get popped for the Tix thing too, but I think NWA Tix takes you to the same place. You can get on there. The link's there, but it's through Eventbrite. We did have a code. It's no longer active for 13% off. Something happened with Danny Dills getting on there and hijacking the website. I haven't figured it out yet, but he did cut a deal for some people. So, we've got, about a week now? Literally, we're a week and a day out, 8 days from the show. Hopefully, nothing else happens. There may be some more promo codes go out just to send it home. Be on the lookout. NWA JCP Southeast, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. My stuff, AJ Cazana, But no, man, we're Eventbrite's the place to get the tickets. You can buy tickets at the door. We do have VIP front row and general admission still available. So VIP will get you in 30 minutes early, and it'll get you a signed poster of the event. So I got to set some of those back, and it'll get you 30 minutes early. You'll get your first pick of seats, and then general admission and regular front row doors open at 7. You get an hour before the show. We're working on something currently. It isn't finalized, but we may have some specific meet and greet details with some specific talent. But that may be that may be a pipe dream of mine. But you may be, this VIP thing that we have open availability to do whatever we want. This is the best thing about being a Cazana and this being Joe Cazana Promotions. Like, I have a lot of, pull with the old man. So, fan pictures in the ring before the general population get to come in there with the world's women's champion, the Southern Six, 2/3 of the Southern Six, Silas Mason and Alex Taylor, both Page sisters. We're working on something to do with them. Get some extra pictures, get some extra moments and memories for people. That's what this business is about: is building memories and creating moments for people to remember when times get bad.
So, absolutely.
I may be a bad guy, guys, but I'm not a bad guy.
Don't let he may be a bad guy on the outside, but in his heart, he's a good guy. He's not the
I'm a
Grinch.
people person. People love me.
There we go. There we go.
Well, Eli,
So, yeah, jumping in, we're talking about the territories in NWA JCP Southeast becoming the second official territory under the Lightning One area.
Official territory. Don't you even start this with me this early.
First official territory.
Exodus Pro likes to pretend that they were the first territory. The only reason they were the first territory is because they ran the show the week before or the day before us.
So doesn't count. There should be an asterisk next to it then.
We'd already talked to Billy. Billy was coming into town to announce the gimmick, the whole thing. And then Exodus Pro, Mr. World Champion, gets to do what he wants. Started his stuff. And then, it just happened that way, but we were the first contacted company to be a territory. I just want you to know that. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry for cutting you off. That was really rude.
No big deal. You're welcome. I appreciate the correction.
That's the bad cowboy in him.
Yeah. So, as the territory system is kind of revamped for the modern era, I mean, what do you see it impacting maybe you specifically, having a hand in a territory, and then also as the NWA, the rest of the talent as a whole?
Well, the goal of the territories is to find the next big talent before they go and get oversaturated on national TV, getting, obliterated by fill in the blank superstar, with AEW Dark, and I don't care to talk about, the WWE, AEW. There's a lot of young talent out there that deserve opportunities and to deserve a place to be and a place to call home. And the National Wrestling Alliance is allowing that. So we've got people, we run a showcase series show with Joe Cazana Promotions that is strictly 70%, at least 70% new talent every show that hasn't been on the main card. Same thing. So our big shows, we've got like our homegrown talent that we've got. As far as that's our goal. Is I'm going out. So when I travel, any show I'm at essentially is it's not a tryout, but it's a showcase for whatever talent's on the show, because I do have a hand in booking a territory. Right. I don't necessarily do the booking for Dad, but hey Dad, there's this kid out in West Tennessee, Marco Harris. He's 6'2", 195 pounds, chiseled to the bone, athletic as hell. Let's bring him in, and we do. And he comes in, looks good, whatever, So we get to bring in NWA talent too. So me, my brother, Silas, Alex, Kerry Morton, Kenzie. East Tennessee is loaded with NWA talent. You'll look at the NWA main roster here in the next year or two, and you'll see world champions, you'll see tag team champions, you'll see anything from Nashville over east. It's going to be NWA is going to be heavily loaded with that talent. But that's the goal, and it's good for me because I get to go out and see a lot of new talent. We get to bring those talents in, put them with guys like Jack Stain, Silas Mason, and we get to say, hey, let's see how this goes. This is a try. This is a try, because if this works, we're going to keep bringing you back. And then Billy Corgan watches our stuff. Pat Kenny watches our stuff. Joe, Kyle, all our stuff's on YouTube for people to see. So it's let's find out how you get over with the crowd here, and then if you're good enough, the NWA will call. Exodus Pro is really good about finding great talent. That's one thing EC3 does incredibly. They've got him and Aaron Stevens up there all the time. They find great talent. They can cultivate great talent. They throw gimmicks or give ideas to people that might work best for them, and somehow they're just. So it's the territory system is just good for everybody. I've lost track of what even the question was, but the territory system.
I think you covered it. Yeah.
As far as a business standpoint, as far as a personal standpoint, I get to go to Chicago. I get to go to Cleveland. I get to travel up to Sevierville and Newport with KFW, NWA Crossfire, and I get to stay at home and work with my pop. So we got nice loops coming, and like I said, I was telling Battle before we got on. If we're really getting into the nitty gritty of this, NWA JCP and NWA Crossfire to a degree are the only two legitimate territories in the NWA right now.
Right.
I'm not knocking Chicago and I'm not knocking Exodus, but I can count on two hands how many cities JCP's been in the past. We've been running now almost 10 years. My dad started running shows in 2016 for my brother's high school. And So we, like I said, and we're branching out west. I've got feelers out for Savannah, Georgia, Raleigh, North Carolina. I've got an inn in Winston Salem, North Carolina. Like we've got places that we're trying to go, and we're trying to build a legitimate territory, you know. And KFW does the same thing up in Sevierville and Newport, and they hit those. They could do Maryville as well, Maryville, Tennessee, which is right outside Knoxville. They've got basically everything east and north of Knoxville. We take everything west and south of Knoxville, and we're going to get with them on the North Carolina shows, and we're going to be like, hey, this is the chance to just blow this thing out of the water and show those northern shows what real professional wrestling is about. And what real territories are supposed to be. You know, it's just friendly competition.
Yeah.
Competition makes the heart grow
survival of the
fonder,
fittest.
whatever the kids say. I don't know.
Yeah. So you talk about, working with your dad, and when you think of the Cazana name, I mean, it's a storied history in professional wrestling with your dad and your grandfather being key figures. How does this legacy influence your approach to wrestling, and what do you hope to contribute to that name?
Well, we'd, I mean, it's tough. Not really tough. It's not tough. It's fairly easy. Wrestling just comes natural. It's weird. Me and my brother both. Like I'm under 5. It'll be 4 years in August for me. It'll be a year and a half in August for him. And to be at the level that we're at now and doing what we're doing, people think we're 15, 20 years in the business, and I'm like, my little brother's 22 years old. He's not even old enough to have been wrestling that long. And I think being at Cazana and having my dad around and knowing that we've got books and diaries of John Cazana's, stuff, his booking and his notes that he took back in the 50s. And he started in 1933. So our family's been around for 91 years in professional wrestling, which is longer than the National Wrestling Alliance has existed. And, that in itself is enough. Is enough to, I don't know what the words I'm looking for, but it's enough to just, it's different being a generational kid. I think most generational kids will tell you it's just because you grow up in the business and you kind of learn it as you're growing up indirectly, and then you get in it. It's like, oh, okay, all this makes sense. As far as contributing to the legacy of the Cazanas, I, selfishly, and this is going to sound really, really cocky, I've already done more for the Cazana family than my father and my great-grandfather, outside of promoting one of the biggest territories in the NWA at the time when John was doing his thing. No Cazana ever held NWA gold until me and my old partner, who shall not be named, were the United States Tag Team Champions. And then even then, we are currently sitting on the list as the third longest rating United States Tag Team Champions, the first longest reigning United States Tag Team Champions in modern history, at 209 days, I believe. So, so we're sitting pretty. The goal is to be world champions. 10 pounds of gold, you got it behind you. The goal is to hold that eventually. I'd like to hold it. I'd like to be a Grand Slam champion in the NWA. We got Kenzie Page, who's first in the NWA. I'd like to be I just like to be one. So I say I'm as cool as Kenzie. And just continue to build down that legacy, and then if we procreate and have children and they get into professional wrestling, let them build on that legacy and then go farther than we did. So the goal is just stepping stones to get to higher and higher levels every generation that's built. But my dad was a hell of a worker, a hell of a wrestler. He does a great job promoting and booking. People like him. He treats people well, and he's going to be one of the only promoters that doesn't get popped for the stupid stuff. And you guys know what I mean by that.
Yep. Yeah. No, we know exactly what you mean by that one.
Just good, genuine people. That's the goal. Leave the wrestling business better than we found it. Make a little money along the way. A couple friends. We'll call it a dime.
Yeah. Well, speaking about the tag team, Country Gentlemen, could you kind of what's the challenges of kind of balancing the dynamics of everyday work life with also being so closely entwined with a family member? I mean, is it difficult achieving both of y'all's goals as a team and individually since y'all work so closely together?
Well, I think our goals, at least tag team goals, are very similar. I think our singles goals are very similar. My main goal with this is to earn a living in professional wrestling. and I'm very fortunate, very blessed to be doing that currently. It's not going to be, golden shower. Excuse me. Hold on. It's not going to be.
Pause.
It's not going to be gold lined shower curtains. Let me rephrase. We're not going to have gold lined bathrobes or we're not going to be eating gold shavings or anything right now. But like I'm earning a living doing this professional wrestling stuff, and my that's his only job is professional wrestling. So we communicate and we talk a lot. The hardest part is that we are brothers and we're 9 years apart. So I grew up for 9 years as an only child. He came along, ruined everything, and then we grew up for 9 years together. And then he, once he was 9, I was out of the house. So, we were together, but we're so far apart in age, we never really hung out. So now we're like starting to hang out more. We're both adults, and we're doing all this other stuff, and we butt heads a lot just because I'm older brother, and I'm like, look, dude, I'm trying to catch you up as fast as possible. To me, that way we can stay on the same track together with just some of the stuff that he does. But that's the hardest part. And then as far as bookings and getting bookings and stuff, like my schedule overrides everything. If I get us booked on a tag team show, he knows, like
He's got to go.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we're going, dude. We're going.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest challenge, really, is that. We're both on the same page. We want to be United States Tag Team Champions. We want to be World Champions. We want singles gold. We want to grow the company, and we want to grow our territory and grow our personal brand recognition. We want the Country Gentlemen to be the top tag team in professional wrestling, and I think we're on a good track for that. It's just a matter of continuing building on the snowball that's already started.
Right.
So, that's the hardest part is the fact that we're actually related, and we spend a lot of time in the car together, and we eat Sunday dinner together, and we we swim together. We don't. He won't work out with me anymore. I made him throw up once, and he did. He didn't want to. But
that's grounds to not do it anymore. Hey, I've been there.
I stay on him all the time, and sometimes to a fault. And Dr. Tom's told me that, but like. Hey, man, I've told him this. It's like, dude, if I didn't care about you, if I didn't care about your progression, I wouldn't stay on you. Also, I'm tied to you whether I like it or not, so we've got to do this. What you do, what you do, I get flack for. What I do, you get flack for. So, like, we have to be smart with it. And, he understands. We've not done anything too stupid, but, sometimes you wake up randomly in a parking lot somewhere, you don't know how you got there.
Right.
Or you agree to come on the Battleground podcast.
Yeah, and you just ramble for hours and hours because I like to talk and hear myself talk.
Hey, we're right there with you. I wouldn't be in radio if I didn't like talking. So, I know your time is precious because you're getting ready for the big show that's coming up here this Friday. It's Trials at the Troubadour. You look at who's going to be there. You've got obviously the Country Gentlemen. You got Jack Stain. You got Silas Mason, Chase Stevens. The Stu Crew is going to be there. Kinsey Page. And a guy that a lot of people in this area know very, very well. One Colby Carter will be there. Before we let you go, what do you?
I'm gonna grab something before you answer this. Go ahead.
Before we let you go, what do you want to tell the people that are watching this right now, listening to this interview about the big show coming up here this Friday?
Well, that's a tough one. There's a lot to tell people. If you like professional wrestling. Oh, the code.
Whoa.
Love it. Whoa. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. I can't read.
Oh.
No, if you like professional wrestling, as it's meant to be, quoting Kyle Davis, I would recommend coming out, checking out NWA JCP. When CCW's back in town, come out, check CCW because there's a lot of NWA folks there. And this is a show that you're going to go. It's going to be family friendly, probably TV 14-ish, because there's a lot of personalities, a lot of big personalities that it's hard to control sometimes. It's hard to say, hey man. Also, I'm responsible. I cuss a little bit every once in a while. It's at a bar, so you get to come out to the Texas Troubadour Theater here in Nashville, and yeah, man, just 6:30 VIP doors, 7 regular doors. 8 p.m. bell time. We're going to run a tight 2-hour show. We'll get you out by 10:15 at the latest if you want to stick around and hang and talk to people and try to get some extra merch. Just in time to head over to the unofficial after party, usually at Scoreboards, right in the same parking lot. Usually where we head afterwards to enjoy ourselves, listen to a little country music or whatever. And then the next door place, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but yeah, no, it gives you enough time to get out. Then you can go enjoy the rest of your Friday night and go boot, scoot, and boogie. But this is
that's probably the best way to end it right there.
Oh well, shoot! I ruined it.
No, ending on a boot scoot. That's Nashville
We
to a
got
T.
world champions coming into Nashville, Tennessee. The Texas Troubadour Theater trials at the Troubadour. Joe Cazana Promotions representing the National Wrestling Alliance. Now, after a good night of wrestling, you can go boot, scoot, and boogie with the worker. There you go.
Boom! Boom! There we go. Yeah, there.